Pnawn da, good afternoon. Y cynghorydd Austin Roberts ydw I, a fi ydi cadeirydd y Pwyllgor Cynllunio, a gai groesawu pawb i'r cyfarfod sy'n gyfarfod aml leoliad. Yn ogystal ag aelodau'r Pwyllgor, mae gennym hefyd swyddogion yn ymuno ni i gynorthwyo gyda'n trafodaethau, ynghyd â siaradwyr cofrestrig. Bydd y cyfarfod yn cael ei ffrydio'n fyw a'i recordio, a bydd ar gael i'w wylio ar ôl i'r cyfarfod dod i ben. Os bydd y ffrydio byw yn methu, bydd y cyfarfod yn parhau a bydd recordiad ar gael trwy wefan y cyngor ar ôl i'r cyfarfod dod i ben. Gai atgoffa'r aelodau bod cyfleusterau cyfieithu ar y pryd ar gael a bod angen i'r rhai sy'n mynychu o bell ddewis eu haith. I'r rhai yn y siambr sy'n dymuno siarad, codwch eich llaw. I'r rhai sy'n mynychu o bell, defnyddiwch y botwm codi llaw. Bydd siaradwyr yn y siambr ac o bell yn cael eu gwahodd i siarad bob yn ail. I'r rhai sy'n mynychu o bell, cofiwch nad oes modd i'r rhai yn y siambr ddefnyddio'r cyflester sgwrsio. Mae gofyn i'r aelodau Pwyllgor sy'n mynychu o bell adael eu camerâu ymlaen drwy gydol y trafodaethau ac wrth bleidleisio mwyn cynnal cywirdeb y broses gwneud penderfyniadau. Os ydych chi'n gorfod gadael y cyfarfod dros dro, rhowch neges yn y cyflester sgwrsio fel bod y swyddog gwasanaethau democrataidd yn gwybod ac yna rhowch wybod i ni pan fyddwch chi'n ôl. Rydw i'n disgwyl i bawb sy'n bresennol ac sy'n cymryd rhan yn y cyfarfod hwn i ymddwyn yn briodol a pharchu ei gilydd. Mae hyn yn berthnasol i aelodau, swyddogion ac unrhyw un sydd yn yr oriel gyhoeddus. Hefyd gai atgoffa'r aelodau o'r Pwyllgor, mi ydyn ni'n agos iawn i fod yn quorum, mi ydyn ni just dros quorum heddiw, ac felly gai ymbil arnach chi gyd i aros trwy gydol y cyfarfod, a dwi'n gobeithio fydd o'n gyfarfod hir beth bynnag. So mae o'n bwysig bod chi gyd yn aros yn y cyfarfod heddiw. Diolch yn fawr. Reit, ymlaen â ni. Eitem gyntaf, ymddiheuriadau am absenoldeb.
Okay, I have apologies from councillors David Carr, Mandy Hawkins, Dave Jones, Tristan Lewis, Kay Redhead and Trevor Stott.
Diolch yn fawr. Datganiadau cysylltiad. Any declarations of interest? Joe Nuttall.
Yeah, I'd like to declare an interest in reference 0/51372. That's the kiosk at Ross-on-Sea because I've already predetermined my decision on a public forum. Thank you.
And Councillor Anthony Bertola. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Diolch. Yes, I'd like a declaration of interest in items 0/50480 and 0/50604. It's in my ward. I know the application person where we've met on other social events regarding other issues as well. So I'd like to raise that point if I may. Thank you.
Chair, could Councillor Bertola just confirm, is that a personal and prejudicial interest in that case?
Yeah, personal, yeah.
Is it both personal and prejudicial? Will you be
leaving
the meeting during?
Yes, I will be, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Bertola.
Okay, any other declarations? Nag oes, iawn, ymlaen â ni. Materion brys, urgent matters.
No urgent matters, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr. Reit, eitem 4, cofnodion cymeradwyo a llofnodi cofnodion y cyfarfod diwethaf fel cofnod cywir. Na'i mwy darllen nhw, na'i jyst galw allan y tudalenna. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 a 12 os na gynnig bod nhw'n gywir. Ifor Lloyd a seconder. Joe Nuttall. Iawn, diolch yn fawr. Can you show your hands, sgwylch yna? Diolch yn fawr. Reit, ymlaen â ni at yr cynllun cynta, 0/49452, demolition of existing dwelling and erection of 9 new dwellings together with formation of new access and pedestrian footpath, Glinton, Top Llan Road, Glan Conwy. A mae gennym ni ddau siaradwr yn y cyswllt yma, Mr Rhys Davies i ddechrau, ac mae o'n siarad o blaid. Iawn, mae gennych chi 3 munud.
Diolch yn fawr iawn i chi am adroddiad eich Pwyllgor. I think it'd be fair to say that I've not come across many planning applications in my 30 years or so of working in planning that have been so thoroughly assessed by planning officers and consultees as this particular application. Building on previously developed land brings its challenges, and this site is no exception, particularly when surrounded by neighbouring houses. However, in this case, all potential effects on neighbours have been thoroughly considered with detailed assessments and additional robust site level information showing that the separation and privacy distances between houses and neighbours well exceed the required standards. Additionally, a detailed daylight assessment has been carried out by specialists to the BRE standards, which shows that the proposed development complies with those standards, and, as your officers confirm in their report, having run through in detail the potential effect on each and every neighbour, daylight and sunlight impact is seen as not being a reason for refusing this application. Overall, the proposal makes best use of previously developed land in a sustainable location, as advocated by national and local planning policy. It will deliver a mix of much needed homes, including a mix of 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom houses, therefore delivering some of the more affordable homes which the Communities Councils seek in their representations, whilst also respecting the density and character of surrounding houses. The provision of 9 houses on this site strikes the right balance and also delivers 2 houses specifically designated as affordable housing, significant active travel improvements in the form of a footpath and cycle link at a current pinch point in Top Llan Road, which can only be delivered as part of this development. The provision of almost 10 times the required open space on the site itself, and also detailed biodiversity enhancements which have been agreed in detail with the Council's ecologist. The committee report does note that some representations raise concern about foul and surface water drainage, but again, these matters have been assessed in detail by specialist consultees, including Dŵr Cymru and the Council's Environmental Roads and Facilities team, and found to be acceptable. The surface water proposals have been designed and tested to be SUDS compliant, and I can assure that there will be no impact on neighbours in terms of surface water or foul water disposal. You also, as a council, have additional safeguards through the council's own SUDS approval process, which would follow on from planning. Overall, as I and your officers and consultees now concur, this detailed application provides exactly the right balance between the need to deliver homes for local people and the need to protect the amenity of neighbours. I trust, therefore, that you can agree with your detailed officers' thorough assessment and approve the application today. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr, Rhys. Ac rŵan gai wahodd y cynghorydd Sharon Dolman i siarad yn erbyn. Croeso, Sharon. You have 3 minutes.
Llansanfraid is a Welsh village, the gateway to the Conwy Valley. We have a strong, vibrant community and our own culture and a history of which we are very proud of. We are also blessed, or as some would say cursed, with having stunning views of the river and mountains. It makes our village a highly desirable place to retire to or to have a second home or Airbnb. Over the past 5 years, we have seen 5 developments of luxury homes ranging from 1-bedroom apartments at £190,000 to detached 4-bedroom houses for £850,000. Several of these executive homes still remain unsold. In addition, we have a development of 107 homes currently under construction in the village, 30% of which will be affordable homes. We do not need any more luxury executive homes in our village. We need homes for local families who want to continue living here in the village. I note there are two bedroom affordable houses proposed for the Glinton development. I question why one of those is not a 3 or 4 bedroom house, so that a local family with children could have a home, an affordable home. This proposed development will also affect the well-being of the neighbours who have made their representations with regard to their privacy and the close proximity of the proposed houses to their homes, and will add further pressure to the infrastructure of the village. As the CPRW state, this application should be completely revised due to the inadequacy of layout, house types, causing overlooking and breaking the skyline, and as submitted should be refused. Those of you who visited the site will be aware that the roads in Llansanfraid were built over 150 years ago for horses and carts, not for the volume of traffic that exists today. There does not appear to be any mention of how delivery vehicles will access the Glinton site. Will they bulldoze their way through Church Street and up Top Llan, causing mayhem? Or will they drive through the new Maes-Savelin development to gain access? Planning Committee, I urge you to refuse this application. We do not need any more executive homes in our village. Llansanfraid residents want to keep our Welsh village the vibrant community it is now. We do not want it to become an overdeveloped enclave for the rich. Our young people need homes. Building these types of houses in villages like Llansanfraid will not solve Conway's housing crisis. However, eventually it will destroy communities.
Diolch yn fawr, Sharon. Rwan, can I turn to the Officer, Katie Roberts? Pnawn da, Katie.
Pnawn da, Cadeirydd. Pnawn da, members. As you can see, the addendum is quite lengthy, so I won't read it in full. I'll just summarise the main points. But firstly, just to point out that we've received additional information regarding existing and proposed land levels and and information to address the issues raised by the Highways Officer. We're currently undertaking consultation on this information, which is due to expire on the 22nd of March. And with that in mind, officers seek delegated authority to consider any representations received. The additional information we've received includes a topographic survey, a proposed roof plan, a proposed site plan, a proposed section plan, a proposed green infrastructure and planting plan, and a site access and visibility displays plan. We've received additional consultation responses from Housing Strategy. As you can see there in the table, they identify the current housing need in Glan Conway, and they request 1 2-bedroom and 1 4-bedroom dwelling to be provided for social general needs. If this is not viable, they request 2 2-bedroom social general needs dwellings. Glan Conway Community Council do not support the development. They consider that Glan Conway is already oversupplied with large executive homes, some having been for sale for many months and years. They prefer more affordable homes to be built to encourage young people from both within and without the village to live within the village. They consider the local infrastructure is not sufficiently robust to be able to take the additional pressure, and they consider that there would not be sufficient access for the construction traffic and the additional car traffic associated with the dwellings. GAPS have no further comments. NRW have no further comments. The Highway Authority accept the revised highway layout drawings, the revised landscaping and the bin storage area. They recommend conditions regarding parking space dimensions, the submission of surface water drainage scheme, a construction traffic management plan, and the completion of a highways defects inspection. We've also received 2 additional representations from the waste manager and the ecologist. The latter has no further comments to make, and the waste manager has stated that having a collection point at the end of a cul-de-sac is acceptable, but but collection vehicles would need access to be able to park next to the collection point on collection day and have the space to safely turn a vehicle around. We've also received 2 additional public representations. Many of the objections there have already been included within the main body of the committee report, but just to state that 1 additional objection has been raised, which relates to interruption to traffic during the construction period. There's just a brief summary here of the updates and the material considerations following the submission of the additional information. But in terms of visual and residential amenity, officers are satisfied with the information that's been submitted. And given the comments raised by the ecologist highways and the waste management, there's no concerns with regards to nature conservation, highways or waste management. So with that in mind, the recommendation has been amended, and that is to grant conditional planning permission subject to 1, the consideration by officers of any representations that may be received during the consultation period, and 2, the completion of a Section 106 planning agreement to secure the provision of 2 affordable houses on plots 2 and 3. And in the event that those matters are not resolved to the satisfaction of the Development and Building Control Manager within 12 weeks of the committee resolution or any extended period that may be agreed, to refuse the application accordingly. And lastly, to authorise the Development and Building Control Manager to issue the planning decision under delegation. Thank you.
Lovely. Diolch yn fawr, Katie. Iawn gyfeillion. I shall open it to the floor. Anybody want to speak? Everybody shy today. Councillor Joe.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. The 2 affordable houses, as Councillor Dolman suggested, 1 2-bedroom, 1 4. Is this an option to change from 2 2-bedrooms?
Katie, can you answer that?
Yeah, what I would say is Housing Strategy did request that there would be, just go back through the addendum, there would be 1 2-bedroom and actually 1 4-bedroom dwelling put forward for affordable housing. What is proposed is 1 2-bedroom and 1 3-bedroom, and officers consider that this isn't a sufficient deviation from the housing mix to warrant a concern given the housing need in Glan Conway.
Okay, Joe. Diolch, Katie. Councillor Andrew Wood.
Thank you, Chair. For Katie, just a bit of concern we're not put a condition on the waste management thing. You sort of explained there that the council's vehicles would have to be able to park alongside and have enough turnaround area. Are we going to put a condition on the developers to make sure that is available, so they can actually, the refuse guys can actually get down there and actually do their job unhindered?
I think it would be prudent to actually have that information prior to issuing the decision, just to make sure that there is adequate space to turn around within the.
So if the ERF actually, the ERF has said prior that they want this information already. So should it not be a condition at this stage? Just to make sure. I understand what you're saying, but you know.
Can I just double check, when you say condition, do you mean a condition on the planning permission or a condition on?
To make sure that it's, you know, they've done a sufficient job to make sure that the refuse workers and the delivery, the collection vehicles can get down there, and they're happy with the actual developer's suggestion for this development.
Yeah, like I said, it would be prudent to have that information before we actually issue the decision, because if it transpires that there wouldn't be adequate space for a collection vehicle to turn around, then that would have impacts upon the layout. So I would suggest that we request that information from the applicant before we issue the decision. Okay,
so we can leave that with you as a delegated decision, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, be interested in, yeah, I'd be interested to see the a design for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Katie. Anybody else? Nobody wants to speak? Has anybody got a proposal then? Councillor Hunter.
Yeah, taking into consideration the matters regarding the affordables, 2 bedrooms, yeah, it'd be nice to have a 4 and a 1, but if we're having two bedrooms, it does give probably a younger family a better chance of a start. I mean, we do need more of the larger houses for families that are already on waiting lists and that, but I think we've having 2 on that at such a small site, I think that's not a bad result, to be honest. There are a lot of reasons why, you know, people have put here that they have concerns, but I think it has been quite thorough, and I'm happy to trust our officers with the making sure everything's in place before they make a final decision. So I'm happy to propose that we go with the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Alan Hunter. Is there a seconder? Councillor Eva Lloyd, got your hand up?
Ie, dwi isio eilio cynghorydd Alan Mama. Mae hwn yn cwestiwn o galw cyflenwad. Mae yna alw mawr am tai fforddiadwy, a mae hwn yn cyflenwi 2 yn y matrix yma. So dyna pam mae eilio. Diolch.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Andrew Wood, do you want to come back? Andrew, you got your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick one. I just heard Katie saying before that officers were going to be given a delegated position, that they wanted 1 2-bedroom and 1 4-bedroom. So surely that is our stipulation for the planning requirement. So if Katie can just come back onto that, and there's not a default position back to 2 bedroom 2 houses. Thank you.
Katie? No,
Yeah, so it's just to reiterate, housing strategy requested 1 2-bedroom dwelling and 1 4-bedroom initially, and if that wasn't viable, they requested 2 2-bedroom units. And based on the viability of the scheme, the developer has put forward 1 2-bedroom dwelling and 1 3-bedroom dwelling. And as I said previously, we didn't consider it to be a significant deviation from what was requested by housing strategy. So officers within the planning department were happy to proceed with that.
Okay, Andrew, happy with that?
Yeah, just to clarify, so you're happy with 2-bedroom houses, or you still want them to go for 1 2-bedroom and 1 4-bedroom because you're not happy with the deviation of 3 bedrooms?
So what's put forward is 1 2-bedroom and 1 3-bedroom dwelling, and planning officers are happy with that.
Okay, thank you. And just make sure your void's not collapsed, because you reeled back then.
All right then, Andrew. Okay, so I've got a proposer and I've got a yes.
Sorry,
Alan?
Chair, I might have confused the issue there with the 2-bedroom.
Yes,
it's 1 and 3. Then
it's 2 and 3.
yeah, that's
That's
fine.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Even
2-bedroom,
happier.
1 2-bedroom and 1 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
Even I heard Katie say that right at the very beginning. Yeah, okay, I've got a proposer and I've got a seconder in favour of officer's recommendation. All those in favour, show hands, please. Any against? Any abstentions? 1. Okay, and that's carried. Diolch yn fawr. Right, moving on. The next one is code reference 0/51372, constructions of concessions kiosk as part of phase B of the Colwyn Bay flood defence and public realm improvements kiosk. Promenade, West Promenade, Rosonsea, Colwyn Bay. And the planning officer is Kerry.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. The application was deferred at the last meeting of the committee, and you will recall that there were 3 reasons why the application was deferred. One was that there had been issued a holding direction by Welsh Water. There is a sewer running close to one of the kiosks. and as a result, Welsh Water have issued a holding direction so that they can further investigate the impact of the construction of the kiosk on the sewer. That matter still awaits resolution. The second matter is that we were awaiting comments from the Highway Authority. We have received a representation from a third party, which was reported to the Planning Committee at the last meeting, which identified concerns in respect of the possibility that delivery vans could park close to a junction, thereby affecting visibility. And finally, we also wish to seek further information in relation to the stormproofing of the kiosks. Now, in relation to the highway concern, I have discussed the matter with the highways officer. We will appreciate this is a replacement kiosk, so it's not introducing additional traffic into the area. But in order to ensure that the delivery vehicles do not obstruct visibility, the Highways Office has suggested a condition relating to delivery times, and that is between the months of May and September. Deliveries would be carried out outside the hours of 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. This is essentially during the times when traffic is busiest. In relation to the matter of the stormproofing of the kiosk, we have received further structural information, and we don't propose to take that matter any further. So the recommendation has been revised. We're now minded to grant conditional planning permission, subject to the satisfactory resolution of Welsh Water's holding objection. And diolch Cadeirydd.
Diolch yn fawr, Kerry. Right, before I open it out for debate, mae gennau newyddion drwg. I've got some bad news. We've lost translation, so mae'n wir drwg gen i. Ga i ofyn i'r rhai ohonoch chi sydd yn am siarad yn Gymraeg i siarad yn Saesneg o hyn ymlaen. Os gwelwch chi dda, can I ask those of you who would rather speak in Welsh to speak?
Shall we adjourn and see if we can sort it out?
Okay, right, okay. We're going to adjourn for a few minutes to see if we can sort it out. Okay, so shall we say 5-10 minutes? 10 minutes, shall we say? So anybody who wants to go and powder their nose, you can do so. Right. What I'll do is I'll get our address. Sorry. Is Nia still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gwenol, Nia. Ag Ifor?
Ie.
Reit, da ni ddim yn medru da ni ddim yn medru cael datrisiad i'r broblem o'r cyfieithu mae gennau ofn. Rhywbeth technegol ydi o. Felly'r dewis sydd gynnon ni ydy i na cario ymlaen trwy gyfrwng y Saesneg yn unig, neu i adjyrnio y cyfarfod am diwrnod arall. Felly mae'r penderfyniad yn syrthio gyda'r trio o'ch chi fel y siaradwr Cymraeg arall sydd yn defnyddio'r Gymraeg gan amla. Mi ydw i'n ddigon bodlon i gario ymlaen am heddiw drwy gyfrwng y Saesneg. Ond mae o fyny i'r trio o'ch chi ydych chi'n bodlon gwneud hynny hefyd. Neu'r dewis arall ydy i adjyrnio fo am diwrnod arall.
Na i ateb di gynta, Austin.
Ie, os ni di Gwenol.
Fel person cwbl ddwyieithog, mae gennau i'r fantais bod fi'n gallu siarad dwy iaith, felly mi na i barhau yn Saesneg.
Oce, diolch yn fawr. Nia?
Ia, dwi'n cytuno efo Gwenol.
Ocê.
Defnyddio pob yn llawn, ia.
Ag Ifor?
Ie, dwi digon hyderus yn...
Oce,
Ie, diolch.
dyna ni felly. Right. Don't know why you had them in, because it doesn't work. Oh, you could hear me.
Okay. It's all right. Yeah.
It's not my fault, it's a problem.
Yeah. That's why there's map between us, so. Right, so.
He might have sorted it, don't say anything.
You might have.
Don't
say
come
anything,
on.
Yeah.
Are you ready now?
Ready.
Yeah.
No, she's.
Yeah.
We've got nine, haven't we? Tony's there, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Start again, come on.
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry. Welcome back. Unfortunately, we've been unable to solve the problem, the technical hitch, so we shall continue with the meeting in English only. I'll just remind everybody which item we were on. Code reference 0/51372, constructions of concessions kiosks of phase 2B at the Colwyn Bay Flood Defence and Public Realm Improvements, the West Promenade, Ross-on-Sea, Colwyn Bay. And the planning officer is Kerry.
Thank you, Chair. I have already finished, so I've got, unless there are questions, I don't have anything further to add.
Oh, okay. Diolch yn fawr. Therefore, right, Stephen Price.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to propose that we go with the officer's recommendations.
Okay, and Alan Hunter will second. Everybody in favour, show of hands. Lovely. Diolch yn fawr. And that is carried. Yeah, if you just ask Joe to pop in. And can I ask Anthony now to leave the meeting? Jane, if you do your magic.
Will do, Chair. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Is he gone? He's gone completely. I should have explained when maybe. Yeah, never mind. Yeah. Iawn, okay. Right. Croeso nôl, Joe. Right, the following is code reference 0/50480, development of land with wooden glamping pod and associated ancillary works, Bod Afon Hall, Craigside, Llandudno. And we have speakers. Who's speaking for? Mr. Talbot, speaking against. And we got somebody speaking in favour. Yeah, but don't they speak first? No. All right, okay. Yeah, but. Oh, I see, okay. Okay.
Yeah, when you have.
I'm ready.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Talbot. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much. This glamping pod, to be honest, it sticks out like a sore finger. It is there on this land. It has an adverse effect. It's clearly visible from the residential road. And to me, it just spoils the area. Now then, also, facilities such as these, the camping facilities that has been built here now on the land, is totally out of character. It is in close proximity to residential dwellings, and I mean close. It is also detrimental. It is on plot of land with the yurt, with the hot tub, with the toilet block, and the pod itself, clearly visible from a beautiful Grade 2 listed building. Now then, also, if this was to go ahead, noise pollution would be horrendous. There'd be a risk of late night partying, loud music, and the 24/7 access could not be controlled, which would destroy any peace and quiet residents have come to enjoy. Now then, on this side, there is no parking whatsoever. And Borathan Road that adjoins the site is a very narrow country lane, no footpaths, very poor street lighting, so parking on this road would not be possible. Where are people visiting the site going to park the vehicles? They can't. Now then, also, you've got Borathan School, you've got Arrowfryn Nurse Home, you've got residents of Borathan Road have all signed a petition strongly objecting to this application. Now then, in the quest to create a commercial campsite, what was once a scenic, beautiful, wooded landscape has been totally eroded.
30 seconds left.
It is now been decimated. And to me, all thankful Conway Borough Council did at least place a tree preservation order on the land. I am thankful for that and hope that that would alleviate any more problems causing destruction of this site. I thank you for listening to me.
There we are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Peter Lloyd, agent speaking in favour and joining by Zoom. Are you there, Mr. Lloyd?
I hope so, Chair. Can you see me, hear me?
Yes, we can. You have 3 minutes starting from now.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll take nowhere near 3 minutes, but this supporting statement and indeed the one for the following item on the agenda are actually quite similar. For those of you who attended site yesterday, you'll have seen both developments in place. This glamping pod not quite yet finished. I stress the applicant found herself in this position through a genuine misunderstanding and belief that these structures were temporary and did not require planning permission. But indeed, we are where we are. As the report sets out, this site has both policy and statutory constraints, but officers endorse the scheme and recommend that you grant permission. Bodavon Hall, which incidentally has nothing to do with Bodavon Farm, previously operated as a hotel before the main building returned to a private residence. The wooded grounds to the west of the hall where the development is sited was, I'm advised, formerly used as hotel grounds, gardens and tennis court. The hall itself continues to function as a tourism enterprise with its outbuildings permitted as holiday letting accommodation. The pod in this location will assist in diversifying that business from the site whilst providing for a simple woodland location stay very close to Llandudno. It targets a different market than is otherwise generally available locally and is the glamping type of use that this committee has interpreted, endorsed and has strongly supported under your LDP policies. It supports the status of Llandudno as the premier resort in Wales rather than detracts from it. It's small, modest accommodation and will be attractive to small families and active couples who wish to experience a simple, tranquil break in a wooded environment with access to the active travel network. The committee report sets out that the location, impact and constraints which affect this site and this application, as well as the policy context, so you understand them. But your officer support shows that the scheme provides satisfactory development with acceptable and limited impacts in the Green Wedge, special landscape area and near the listed building. In principle, this type of development is one that both Planning Policy Wales and your LDP allow. Equally, the other concerns, including those by Mr. Talbot over potential effects, were they even to occur, are outside planning considerations or can be controlled and mitigated with planning condition. The scheme would not raise significant or adverse effects on the site, its setting or beyond its boundaries. Your highways have no objection to the scheme from a parking or other accessibility perspective, and there would be no new access to Bodavon Road. The applicant has also agreed to deliver a woodland management plan to secure the woodlands for the future. I trust you can support this scheme today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll turn to the officer, which is Liz Wood. Are you there, Liz? Oh, sorry, you're there. Oh, very good. I thought I saw you sat over there, and then I thought, oh, I must have been seeing things, and you must be on screen. Sorry about that, Liz. No. Okay, that's it.
All right. Sorry, I repeat that. I've just let you know there's no updates on this item.
Okay, lovely. Diolch yn fawr. Right, I'll open it to the floor. Councillor Chris Cater.
Down da. Thank you, Cadeirydd. Yeah, I always get very anxious when development is proposed in a green wedge, and this is actually in a special landscape area, ancient woodland and a green wedge. So the presumption should be against a significant development. And I'm really pleased that we went on a site visit yesterday, Chair, because it was very illuminating seeing the context of the hall there and the woodland and these structures. So I think I would propose that we go with the officer's recommendation on balance. It's very minor, the development, and I think the officers are very clear that further expansion and intensification would not be considered suitable. So I think that needs to be conditioned, and I'm assuming that would be a condition in the planning permission. The biodiversity, we looked at biodiversity, and in actual fact, the biodiversity is better. The fact that the area is not groomed very well. You know, the paths are quite overgrown, and the area has got a lot of shrubbery there. So we don't want all that cleared. We want that retained, and presumably there'll be some a management scheme conditioned as well. So I'm prepared to support this on balance. The business about the parking, yes, there shouldn't be any access from the very narrow Bodavon Lane just by the farm at the bottom there, but I didn't have a problem with the access to the hall. Our coach drove up there quite easily and parked. There was quite a large parking area, so I'm not concerned about that. So on balance, Chair, I'd like to propose that we grant this permission, but with those conditions, please.
Okay, can you just clarify the conditions again, please?
Yeah, so there's the woodland management plan, and also that there shouldn't be an opening for further intensification. Mr. Talbot spoke against this because he was worried it become a busy campsite, and I definitely wouldn't want this area to become a busy campsite. So could that be conditioned that there wouldn't be any further intensification?
Paula.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we'll look for measures to control the woodland management plan, but in terms of intensification of the site, unfortunately, we won't be able to impose a condition that will control future proposals. It would need to come in as an application. It would need any further development would need to be considered on its merit at that time.
As long as any further development, intensification, whatever you want to call it, would need a completely new planning application, and they couldn't sort of piggyback onto this one. Am I right?
Yeah, that's my understanding in terms of the
Yeah, the site areas are very tightly drawn around both the glamping pod and the next item on the agenda. Irrespective, they would still need to apply for any future development on there of this nature.
Okay, diolch yn fawr. Councillor Ifor Lloyd, ti'n fodlon eilio?
No, I'm willing to second that proposal. But I'd like to ask a question to Paul Smith, if he's happy with the highways stroke parking arrangements on this soft planning application.
Hi, good afternoon, committee. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, Paul.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, highways are satisfied with the parking arranged previous usage.
Can you repeat that, please, Paul? Because you just cut up a little bit.
Highways have assessed it against previous usage, and highways are satisfied with the parking, the space, and the provision and the access.
Yeah, okay. Diolch, Paul. Thank you for your expertise. Yeah, happy to second with those conditions as well, please.
Thank you. Councillor Nuttall.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Yeah, I was going to second, so I'm happy to support. Could we also add something about late night noise after a certain time? No loud music.
Environmental Health have commented on the application. They don't have any objections. If there were to be problems that would recur, it would be for them to take the appropriate course of action because it's covered in their legislation.
Okay.
So under the planning requirements, we can't duplicate that.
Diolch.
Diolch.
Oh, Councillor Hunter. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I've got a proposal, I've got a second. Everybody happy? Show of hands, please. Any against? Any abstentions? One. And that has been passed. Right, newyddion da, good news. We can now revert to a bilingual meeting. So, until it goes again, obviously. Iawn, eitem nesa, code reference 0/5/0604, development of land with yurts and associated ancillary works, retrospective application, Portavon Hall, Portavon Road. Llandudno, we have speakers. Just Peter Lloyd speaking in favour, and he will be joining via Zoom. Are you there again, Mr. Lloyd?
Good afternoon, Chair. Nice to see you. Been such a long time since we spoke. Thank you. Yeah, Chair, I mean, I'm pretty much going to repeat what I said previously, so I'll run through it very quickly. There's with some slight different nuances. Obviously, most of you saw the site yesterday, and again, and reiterate, this is retrospective, but it's only on a misunderstanding and a belief that it was a temporary structure and permission wasn't required for its letting use. This yurt has been there for quite some time. I also say, you know, your report does set out policy and statutory constraints, and it's again endorsed by officers. I think the grounds to the east of to the west of the hotel provide some form of buffer to this scheme, and the hall itself provides a tourism enterprise. Sorry, members, I've got another thing on the phone there. The yurt and associated works with this application continue to assist in diversifying the business at the site and providing a simple woodland location close to Llandudno with a different market other than generally available locally, and is the type of accommodation this committee has previously interpreted and supported, supporting the status of Llandudno as a premier resort in Wales rather than detracting from it. I think slightly different market for this accommodation. It's still modest, but will be attractive mainly to individuals and couples, and that's the experience of this one in the past, who wish to experience that tranquil break in a pleasant environment close to the network. In setting out the discussions about the location and impacts this site, officers' support still shows that the scheme satisfactory development with acceptable and limited impacts on the Green Wedge SLA and obviously in this case the listed building. As you'll have seen yesterday, and I think it's key to focus on this point with this application, the site where the yurt is positioned is actually screened from the rear of Badavon Hall itself by the wall and accessible only through it if you needed to go through, and indeed screened by other features. And it has a very limited minor physical impact when perceived in its surroundings. So again, in principle, this is a development that Planning Policy Wales and the LDP allow. And equally, those other concerns raised over potential effects, were they to occur, are either not planning considerations or can be covered by the planning conditions, which officers and members have already discussed on the previous item. So again, I just endorse this to you, officers. I hope you can, members, I hope you can support it again today, and I'll take no more of your time. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Mr. Lloyd. Liz, over to you.
Just a couple of updates, members, in terms of the report, a couple of corrections. On paragraph 3, it's corrected to, it should read, the site lies within the grounds of the hall and is considered to form part of the curtilage. And paragraph 21, it should read, the yurt lies within the grounds of the hall and is considered to form part of this historic curtilage of the hall. However, officers consider that the proposal has minimal impact on the setting of Badavon Hall listed building because there is a clear boundary between the yurt and the hall, which comprises a mixture of trees and shrubs together with a stone wall and timber fence. Additional landscaping along the boundary wall / fence would provide further screening and mitigate the impact of development in the setting of the listed building. And that we consider could be conditioned. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Liz. Iawn, na I agor o'r llawr a open it for discussion. Councillor Chris Cater.
Yeah, Chair, I'd just like to repeat what I said before about the previous application concerning the Green Wedge and you know, the presumption against development. I'm happy with this one as well. And going there yesterday, yes, it didn't seem as if it was going to have a significant effect on Badavon Hall itself. But yes, if we can put the conditions about the management plan on this one as well. And I presume that they won't be able to put a whole cluster of these yurts there without further planning permission, because the one yurt, it looked quite an old yurt, so it obviously been there quite some time, Chair. So yes, I think that we could go with the officer's recommendation. I'd like to propose that.
Thank you. Paul, are you happy with?
Yeah, I'm happy that we can control that. Just in addition to that, just to confirm that our ecologist also hasn't raised any objections to the woodland management plan that has been submitted, and she feels it provides a satisfactory 10-year woodland management plan, so we will be able to control that as a condition in the decision notice.
Thank you, Councillor Nuttall.
Yeah, again, happy to support if we can just add a further condition that the screening is added to between the hall and the proposed development.
Just to confirm that, yeah, that's what I would suggest as well. From our perspective, we thought additional screening along that boundary that we saw yesterday would just assist in making that boundary clearer between the two and having that physical break, and also just provide a little bit more additional screening to the listed building as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Cynghorydd Ifor Lloyd.
Diolch yn fawr. Ie. Oes, please. Jyst eisiau gofyn dwi, ydyn ni'n mynd i ehangu ar yr plannu i sgrinio, neu ydyn ni'n mynd i roi rhywbeth gorfforol i fyny?
Is the screening going to be some sort of
planting scheme?
Or is it going to be solid?
Yeah, I would suggest it should be planting. Sorry, that was the bit that I didn't pick through on the translation. I didn't pick it up on the translation. So yeah, I agree. It should be soft landscaping rather than something more structured.
Iawn Ifor, hapus?
Hapus iawn, diolch.
Yep. Okay. I've got nobody else who's indicated they want to speak. So I got a proposer in Councillor Chris Cater, seconded by Councillor Joe Nuttall. Show of hands, please. And one abstention. Diolch yn fawr. Right, symud ymlaen. Diolch yn fawr, Liz, thank you. Right, cais nesa, code reference dim stroke 51120, erection of dwelling house, Fernbrook Road, Penmaenmawr, Conwy. And we have a speaker, the local ward member, Councillor Anne McCaffrey. Are you there, Councillor Anne?
I am indeed from Boston.
Royso, you have 3 minutes starting from now.
Okay, thanks, Chair. National and local policy is to preserve and enhance heritage assets, yet policy here seems to be being given insufficient regard or weighting, despite a presumption against development. I'd ask you to reject this application, or at least defer it, to enable a detailed heritage impact assessment to be done on the impact on Pennakai Heritage Asset Area. In total, I've got 6 concerns. The first is increasing density in a low-density heritage area. The proposed infill will erode the Pennakai Heritage Asset Area and architectural quality nearby. For example, at Glanfrod, which is opposite, and at the Clock Tower of Edenhall Mews, which is adjacent. Infilling is out of character, DP3 refers, and in terms of scale and massing and elevation, and is explicitly frowned upon in CTH2, where section 4.7.3.3 specifically references the need to protect Pennakai in this regard, i.e. from infilling. My second concern is overdevelopment. Aintree House is a large 4-storey, 6-bedroom house in a large garden. It's already been developed to the north, a massive elevated extension on which an additional room has been installed. This proposal now seeks to squeeze a 4-storey building into a constrained part of the garden within the heritage area, where a protected characteristic of local houses is to have large gardens. This proposal is out of character. My third concern is overlooking. The existing extension overlooks Edenhall Victorian Gardens, as will the new 4-storey house. Members saw the impact at yesterday's site visit. The proposed house will also overlook the gardens. There is an unresolved boundary dispute at this site with CBC as well, as they own the gardens. My fourth concern is light. This development will significantly reduce the light to Edenhall Gardens, and light is key to the planting within the garden and to the amenity able to be enjoyed by residents. Fifth concern is over highways having unresolved safety issues, over visibility displays, and so far as I understand it, they've withheld their approval. My sixth and final concern is we're setting a dangerous precedent if we allow infilling and this increase of density in a low density heritage area, which is specifically protected by policy. So in summary, granting permission erodes Penakai heritage asset, in my view, contrary to CTH2 and DP3. I don't see the point of heritage conservation areas and heritage policy if we continually disregard them or give them little weight. However, if you do grant permission, please consider 3 planning conditions. 1, construction working times need to be adjusted to reflect the safety of the children at Penk School who walk to and from school along Fernbrook Road. It's a walk to school route without pavements. Second is the granite stone wall is to be significantly reduced. Leftover stone must be redeployed within the site or preferably offered to Eden Hall Gardens as part of their conservation work. And finally, on the northern border of this new development, there is proposed a hardwood 2-metre fence, which is completely unsympathetic to the surroundings and context. So I would suggest if you do grant permission that soft landscaping should be all that's visible from Eden Hall Gardens. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Anne. I gave you a few more seconds there. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Right, over to Dave Watson.
Thank you, Chair and members. Just to tell you what's in the addendum, the Highway Officer has no further comments in relation to the additional information that was received about the height of the retaining walls and the location of the refuse store and the visibility displays. The Tree Officer has referred to the loss of 3 trees, the removal of those 3 trees, 2 cherry and an ash stump, but he says then don't warrant a tree preservation order protection. If planning permission is granted, they should be replaced to maintain tree canopy, and provided there is replacement tree planting, he has no objections to the proposal. Penman Town Council, it's concerned that it hasn't been given information or time to make considered representations on the application, and it's made this comment very, very late, only received it today. And it says the land registry map is misleading and the documents refer to Aintree Manor. It says there have been a number of amendments since the consultation back in October, with amended drawings received in February and in March, and it requests that the application is deferred so that the Town Council is given time to review these amendments. Officers responding to that particular point, the application was registered in October. Initial consultations and publicity carried out in October last year. Amended plans were received in November last year, and further consultations and publicity. We have recently had some further additional information and amended plans submitted in February and in March to address matters by the Highway Officer. That's included an additional plan showing the visibility displays and additional information on the side retaining walls and the bin store area. And we've received further comments from the Highway Officer, but further publicity and consultation hasn't been carried out on the latest amended and additional information and amendments, because they haven't altered the access or the visibility displays. So we wouldn't normally do consultation on that basis. And that was my addendum. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch, Dave. Right. Anybody want to say something? Councillor Chris Cater.
Yeah, can I just ask Paul Jones about the dissatisfaction of the Town Council with the consultation on the amended plans? I mean, from what?
Hang on a minute. Okay. There's confirmation. Yeah. Can you ask the question again?
Yeah. So if I could just ask Paula Jones about her take on this dissatisfaction that's come from Pembrokeshire Town Council that they haven't been properly consulted about the amended plans. I mean, from what Mr. Watson has said, they were just details about the visibility display and everything at the highways, and I don't think they would have changed the Pembrokeshire Town Council's list of points of objection. But I think just for clarity, if you could comment on that, please.
Okay, thank you. Yes, just to confirm, I have actually sent a response back to the town council today to explain that the information provided is really additional information to overcome the highway officer's concerns. And generally, when there aren't significant amendments or changes to a scheme, then we don't tend to reconsult on those types of proposals because it's just additional information. But we do, of course, upload it onto our portal just for transparency purposes.
Yeah, thank you for sending them that explanation, because what seems quite obvious to the committee members were, we're experienced in applications having this information last minute sometimes. I'm glad you've sent something to them explaining it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cynghorydd Ifar. Dave Watson. Dave, would you like to come back in?
Yeah, the speaker, Councillor Anne, she requested that if permission was granted, that we do consider conditions, and I think she listed 3 conditions. One was the walking route involving walking route to the schools and avoiding a conflict with that, and also a stone wall. I think it was on the frontage. And then the northern boundary, she said the 2 metre high fence wasn't acceptable and it should be soft landscaping. So officers would accept all of those conditions if members were approving the application. So there would be a construction method type plan, which would include the times of construction work to avoid the walking route issue. And we would condition the details of the stone wall, and we would condition that they're the soft landscaping on the boundary, on the northern boundary. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Ifar Lloyd.
Yeah, I'd like to just ask the the highways officer, is there potential betterment for that junction?
Paul?
No connection.
Are you there, Paul?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, there's the betterment of the junction is complicated by the fact that the plot of land of an application. So what I can say is that there is little scope to improve it, really. Traditionally, there have been the odd accidents, but it's involved vehicles, brakes failing, coming down the hill and going into the wall.
Yeah.
So there's no real issue that we can do to resolve that issue apart from keeping maintenance standards well. My issues regarding visibility splays were addressed with the additional information that came in. And I believe that the new retaining walls will be no greater than 600 millimeters above carriageway level and will be finished with natural stone to keep with the area.
Okay, sorry, I got most of it. I've got the general gist of it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Chair, if there's anything that Councillor Ivor doesn't feel has been sufficiently answered, can we just make sure that those issues are sufficiently answered?
Paul, can you give your answer again, please? Because we missed a little bit in the beginning.
Okay, I'll do my best. No, we do not believe that there are obvious significant improvements to the junction that can be made in this instance.
Okay. Would the type of tarmac laid, because you get some that are laid for better traction, don't you? Would that be a improvement?
To create the footway?
Yes.
We looked at that option, but it was felt that the provision of a footway would not be proportional to the development. There is also a separate application in the pipeline for the piece of land opposite, and it's more likely a footway would come forward through that application than the one located opposite.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Councillor Joe Nuttall.
Can I just ask the officers for more details of the boundary dispute, please, and whether that's affecting the application at all?
I'm not sure whether Matt, the legal officer, would want to respond.
Yeah, any kind of civil issues or disagreements aren't relevant planning considerations, Councillor Joe.
Councillor Chris Cater.
Thank you, Chair. I know Mr. Watson has addressed this somewhat, but you know, obviously I welcome that the cedar tree has been retained, but I am still concerned about the new tree and hedge planting. Will that be a condition that's done? Can you just give me your assurance? Because yes, there are the Eden Hall gardens below, and we want them to be screened. So I would like that to be strongly conditioned, the planting. And also I noticed the ecologist has mentioned bat and bird nesting boxes. Can we have those inserted or whatever, please, as part of the planning condition? There's one other question I've got, and that is, yesterday on site we were told that none of the actual neighbours had objected. Is that still the case?
Thank you. In terms of the conditions, they're standard conditions really, so it may not be. I think it is explicit in the report, but they would be included planting conditions for tree planting and for other soft planting, and ecological measures. Again, it's every single planning permission which really should have ecological measures included in it. So we would be conditioning that as part of this application. Thank you.
Okay, did I get to proposing that we went with the officer's recommendation? With
No,
those
you
conditions?
didn't propose.
Well, can I propose that we grant planning permission with the ensuring that the conservation and ecological items are in there?
And are you happy to put in the conditions proposed by the local member, Councillor McCaffrey?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Councillor, sorry, yeah, come in, Paula.
Sorry, just for completeness, I don't think your question initially was fully responded to regarding whether any objections have been received from the residents. I just checked online and I'm just double checking the report, but as far as I can see, there is just one representation that we have seen, and that is from the local member.
Okay, Councillor Jonas.
Diolch. I'm happy to second Councillor Chris. Can we ensure that the slate from the wall is either utilised on site or given to the communal garden as one of the recommendations, please?
I think that's already proposed as part of Councillor Ann's initial recommendation. So
Okay, yeah, okay. Councillor Eva Lloyd.
Yeah, it's already been done. I was just making sure that the local members' conditions were on. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Diolch yn fawr. So there we are. All those in favour?
I'm for chair as well. I'm not a video.
Who's that? Andrew Wood.
Yeah.
Can you say that again, Andrew?
In favour, chair. The video's gone off. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That is carried. Diolch yn fawr. Right, yr eitem nesa. Moving on. We're nearly there. Code reference 0/51427 to safely demolish an existing bookstore at the rear staff car park, Cowan Bay Library, and replace it with a sustainable bespoke bookstore with carbon reduction features, including dedicated collection store and EV charging points for library EV van. Public Library, 7 Woodland Road West, by Cowan. Planning officer is Kerry Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Action from the Highway Authority subject to a condition regarding a construction method statement. Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. As no objections were received during the consultation period, the recommendation has been amended to be minded to grant conditional planning permission.
Diolch yn fawr, Ceri. Councillor Joe Nuttall. Oh, was Ivor first? Or Ivor cynta then, and then Joe.
Ladies first.
Ladies first, Joe.
Diolch. Yeah, I'd like to propose that we go with officers' recommendations. By reading through the report, there is asbestos there, so it's obviously a safety issue and it has been broken into and it leaks. So I think they've mitigated against the look of it. It's behind the building and it can't be seen. So yeah, I'd like to propose that we go with officers' recommendations, please.
Diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Ifar Oed.
Hapus i eilio, Cadeirydd. Diolch.
Iawn. Okay, is there rhywun arall eisiau siarad? Na, okay then. All those in favour? And that is carried.
Yeah.
Diolch yn fawr. Sorry? Oh, right, okay. And finally, code reference 0/51430. Again, to safely demolish an existing bookstore at the rear staff car park of Cowan Bay Library, replace it with a sustainable bespoke bookstore with carbon reduction features, etc., etc. Public Library, 7 Woodland Road West, Cowan Bay. Harry Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Again, no objection. So the recommendation is that we forward the application to the Welsh Ministers for determination, just as a procedural point, as this is an application for conservation area consent.
Do I need a proposal and a second for that? Yeah, okay. Councillor Alan Hunter, sorry.
Yeah, it's going to propose. We go with
Okay,
officers'
thank you.
recommendation.
Seconder, please. Councillor Eva Lloyd.
Yeah, due process. Hapus i eilio. Diolch.
Okay, iawn. All those in favour? And that's carried. Diolch yn fawr iawn chi gyd. Thank you for all attending. A cymryd rhan heddiw. Can I thank all the officers? Paula, Dave, Kerry, who's leaving, James, Liz Wood, and Julia, and not forgetting the Honourable Matt, and especially not forgetting Jane Angharad, and I'm not bothering to thank Berwyn because he hasn't done a very good job today. Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn i chi gyd. A tan y tro nesa, hwyl fawr.